Thank you so much for tuning in to She's All Over the Place with Kiriaki. That's me. Welcome to She's All Over the Place. Today we have the artist Nicky Scorpio on, and I've had the honor to have him on season 1, season 2, and now season 3. So we're always having beautiful in-depth conversations. And he has a new single called Irregular. And with no further ado, we're just going to have Nicky on and we're going to chit-chat it up. Hey, Nicky.
Hey, thank you for having me and thank you for doing what you're doing. I'm glad that we're talking right now. It's important to have conversations right now and have human interaction.
Yeah, definitely. More than ever, especially after a lot of people being cooped up, for the last year and a half, March, April, May, June. Yeah.
Yep.
Almost a year and a half. Yeah. So everyone's at, different stages and a lot of people are out, but a lot of people are actually still, on their farms or, not traveling and not out. So anyway. So how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm always optimistic. Like I'm at a place now where I've been through so much and I've been through so many different stages of my emotions and just learning so much knowledge that my main focus is just being able to really focus on like how in Buddhism and different spirituality they talk about you have to be here now. Like anytime I have a futuristic thought, I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna keep being happy right here in the moment.
Mm-hmm. It's really optimistic of you. Also must be quite challenging, to wear your heart on your sleeve, pun intended, and, keep up with that. It's a lot, especially with the world we're in. But I feel you because I've been that way too. And I understand where you're coming from. I really, really understand. I just want to let you know a couple things. One, I think you're one of the coolest people that I know on the planet. Yeah, out of all the people I've ever met, I just think you're so cool and you're so talented and original. And, if anyone sees Crybaby, our music video together, your first music video, you're so edgy, so colorful, so cool, self-taught, like so attention to the detail, so patient. And that video still hasn't gotten all the love that it deserves. And I'll put in the show notes. Everyone check out Irregular or not Irregular. Irregular, because that's going to be in the show notes. But Crybaby. It's funny because I don't even have the hard drive on me. Oh, maybe I do. I think I have the video. I do because I gave it to Eliza to upload, but I have to remember to upload that to our TSP page because we don't even have that on our page. It's on someone else's page, so they get all the love, views, and likes. But we need to upload that immediately to our page so people can check that out. So I'll hold myself accountable and do that. So it's in the show notes so people can check out Crybaby to see how you're this amazing, talented editor and you're just a genius. And, when we were in Greece, you wrote Heart on My Sleeve. You wrote many songs. Talk about the process of writing songs. And because I know you like to be energy in motion and in motion with the flow when you're writing. So let's talk about that a little bit, your process. Is that cool?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely. It's interesting with songwriting because yes, I've noticed I can write and I can channel messages and lyrics better when I'm in motion. Like when I'm in New York, when I'm on a subway, when I'm in California, like if I'm in a car or something, an idea will hit me, that for some reason that's how it operates. And, recently when I've been doing songwriting, it's been different because I've been more indoors. Like I've been doing these because you actually challenged me and I was like, cool, let me just go with it. And so I started recording just verses and hooks and just dropping them online. These songs are just from me saying, how much can I channel the anger I feel? How much can I channel all of the different emotions that I feel in the whirlwind that I've been through recently with, people in my life having devastating health news and, not being able to see people and connect with people and just seeing how people right now, although there's so much hope and there's so much greatness that because we're not taught certain things, there's so much division and there's so much hate right now. And for me, the music that I've been making really for the past couple years, I call it wake up music. You know, it's like when you've been depressed, when you've gotten out of a bad relationship, that something happens or somebody comes into your life and it's just like, yo, you got to get up. You got to open up the windows. You got to open up the curtains, take a shower, like, you know, get dressed, get up. I know that it's hard. I know that it hurts, you know, and that's the music that I'm making. And that's my focus. So I like being in motion. I look forward to being in motion again. But for me, it's always about really thinking like, is this something that somebody can say to somebody else? Is this something that somebody's going to yell at the top of their lungs? Is this something that's going to move somebody? And what is the story that I'm telling? Like, what's my purpose with it?
Beautiful. Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Another thing you mentioned a few moments ago was being in the moment. And that moment is so sentimental and so tender and beautiful. And it's emotional, you know, being in the moment and being aware of the moment. I personally just watched the documentary of Billie Eilish. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I want to watch that documentary every single day. I actually wrote her on Instagram because I was just so moved and like on the verge of tears. It shows her beautiful journey. And when she was at Coachella performing in the middle of it all, because like, you know me, like before, like something's going to happen. Like if I'm doing like hosting a party or something, it's like, oh, I just want it to be over. Or like sometimes you just, you know, it's going to be great, but like you just don't want to go because you're just like, oh, like I don't want to go, but you do want to go, but you're so scared, or you're just like, oh God, you feel like you're going to be a failure. You just want to like go and crawl and hide. Well, when she was in it, in the moment, in the center of all of it, during it, before she did this one song, she took a deep breath and she's like, can we just be in the moment? Like everyone's always thinking about what's next, what's next, what's next. She's like, can we just all be in the moment right now? And she just like called it out, you know, and it was really beautiful and, you know, sacred, because we're always wanting to be getting to the next moment and not wanting to feel our feelings completely. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a scary thing. So I liked how you were like, well, let's just be in the moment right now, you know? So,
I feel like I've had enough conversations with enough people at different levels. Like I've met enough people that have a platform of success that a lot of people wish that they could have, and see behind the scenes how human people are. And I see the same connection with somebody who's holding up a sign asking for change on a street corner. I see that within that millionaire, you know? And for me, I'm watching how right now we're in a lifetime history book that we can all hold up our phones, so that if somebody ever tries to say it happened this way, hopefully people can still pull up YouTube and have archived all of the stuff that's happened while we've been alive, you know? And there's so much uncertainty that is within like the human psyche, within the human soul right now, of like, what's going to happen? I've come to the realization that I have to live in a world of intuition and manifesting. That like, I have to understand my roots and my ancestors to know what they were focused on, and to focus from that place, to think like how, if you study the Egyptian culture, that like there's certain ways that you can have peace right now. And I'm personally, and a lot of people are, if you go on TikTok, you look at what people are sharing and what they're posting. Like people are tired of the facade. They're tired of the illusion. They're tired of people showing this like perfect life when it's not like that. People don't want that. And I think what's dope about Billie Eilish is how she and the younger generations, like the kids that are like young right now, that are the future, that are still brand new to this world, are very cool with mental health. They're cool with talking about this. It's the older generations that don't want to talk about this. And Hollywood doesn't want to talk about that. You literally can't tell a casting person that you had a bad day or that there was bad traffic. Like you can't say those kinds of things. And it's crazy because the levels of numbness that people have to how they really feel deep down inside are astounding. And so I'm speaking up, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation now, because when people don't have mental health issues, like when they're just born into a life that genetically like doesn't involve any kind of anxieties, they're taught you're good enough, you're worthy. You know what I'm saying? Like those kinds of things, when people come into the world, when you raise a child with the belief that they're good enough and that no matter what anybody says, that their ideas are brilliant, that person doesn't understand that person who's talking to themselves, who's on the edge, who's depressed. Like people that come from that like lack of understanding, that's why they love hip hop. That's why they love like different trends and stuff, because people are trying to figure out how can people who come from such poverty and such pain and such violence and hurt create like the greatest trends and the greatest sounds in the world. So my point is that we need to give ourselves permission to be free, to be mentally free. Mm-hmm. To truly not care what other people think. Yeah. And that is not easy.
Yeah, I love everything you just said. You've always been on the cool pulse of culture and ahead of the curve and very, I mean, I've known you, gosh, for almost a decade now. And since day one, you're talking about community and like everyone and their brother the last 3-4 years, they're like, oh, community. And it's just like, you've been saying it since day one and like about community, which is healthy, which is great. You know, that's how people are thinking and being. That's a step in the good direction. I'm really excited for you to see this documentary. Maybe we'll watch it together when I see you. I'm definitely going to watch it with my 13-year-old niece. She loves her. She loves Billie Eilish. I was going to get her this t-shirt when I was out shopping with my mom one time. And it was dope. And it was all green. And that's Lana's favorite color. And my mom didn't want her to have it. And I'm just like, why? And my mom like just didn't. I'm like, oh, okay, just I wanted to respect my mom and everything. My mom needs to sit down and watch this documentary and listen to this mother speak about her child and what she's saying about Billie. And the girl's living in her parents' childhood home, and she's winning 6 Grammys and having Justin Bieber FaceTime her. You know, it's like if my mom, I don't know if, like you said, because of the generational differences, I don't know if my mom would get it, but I remember when Kesha first came off, my mom was like, you know, anti this. And it was like, I wanted to like fit in or feel like it was okay, but I wanted to be a good girl. And also, you know, I was limited. But then I remember like years later, I came home and like my mom's bumping Kesha and I'm just looking over. I was like, yo, like, wait, the way I grew up, it was like, this was everything against what I should be doing. Yeah. And like, you're bumping out to Kesha right now. Like, I was just like, I didn't know if it was hypocritical. I actually got like angry, like going down the street. Like this was a few years ago. I was like anger, you know what I mean? Cause it's like, you think one thing and then someone's another. And then, or you think one thing and then it's like, you're not authentic to yourself and who you are based on what other people feel. And so, you know, we're being inauthentic. And I was, you know, getting an inspiration from you about like, you know, being more real on TikTok, and it's the place to like communicate. And, you know, I was just like reflecting right before we got on, you know, the call today. And I was just like, or literally today it's 1:32 in the morning. So whatever.
Technically today for you.
Whatever day it is for you. Yeah. But I was reflecting and I was thinking, I just lost my thought, but that's okay. What were we just talking about?
Kesha, your mom.
Oh, you were inspiring me to, you know, be on the TikTok and be more authentic and stuff. And I was reflecting and I was like, you know, because after seeing literally this documentary, it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I just want to like seriously watch it every day because I'm so angry. I just want to like rip someone's head off right now. I'm like so, you know, moved and angered and inspired and I wanted to do a TikTok and I was like premeditative of it. And I was like, you know what? I first want to apologize to myself, like for being inauthentic, like first and foremost to myself, for being silent, for holding so many lies, for protecting so many other people. And then me like not being authentic to myself for this imposter syndrome. And I think that all ties into, you know, being irregular, right? And it ties into the message of your music and what you're talking about and how we all connect and, you know, mental health and how we're the diverse culture and how we're irregular and how we can share our stories and how we're, you know, so you want to share some stuff about what irregular means to you?
Yeah. I mean, I know within my heart of hearts, like I would gamble everything that I have, that like my DNA is not 100% from planet Earth. And those conversations are becoming more normalized. Like even the rapper Young Thug said that he's like, there's a planet in an interview. He's like, there's another planet that's like Earth, but it's different, but it's like Earth. And he's like, I think I come from there. Like my whole focus and perspective and conversation that I'm having right now is like, we need to really, really admit, like it took me a while to admit that the last few months I've been depressed. I didn't want to because I'm Captain Optimistic. And again, there's been so much stuff where I'm like, I can't sit here and put a smile on my face anymore for people. Like to your point, I've given so much. Like I was just having a conversation with somebody about this. People, a lot of times that are depressed or have it the hardest, I get more love from somebody who has 300 followers than from somebody who has 20,000. I will get more shares. In fact, when it comes to money, when it comes to sales, one of the first jobs that I had was I would go door to door and I would sell newspapers. And I would find that when I would go into the rough part of town, because we would go into Piedmont in the Bay Area, which is like the Beverly Hills of the Bay, beautiful part of the Bay Area. When I would go into Fruitvale or East Oakland or West Oakland and into kind of like, rougher part of towns, those people would buy the newspaper subscriptions. They were the ones that would spend more. People, and there's a lot of different psychology behind it, but it's like our society, it is possible for all of us to think differently. It is possible for us to disagree. It is possible for us to see things differently and to actually all get along and to respect that other people think differently. There are certain things that, in my opinion, should be talked about that go beyond religion, that go beyond politics, that go beyond your truth and my truth, that are just factual parts of who we are, that are now being proven and talked about, that if everybody on a collective conscious level understood these certain things, all of the hate and the fear and the division would go away. We are watching celebrities and entertainers as normal human beings, not for people who are already in that industry. I'm talking about normal human beings who work 9-to-5 jobs, normal human beings that are entrepreneurs, et cetera, are almost without even wanting to, forced to watch all of these things that just keep us numb and looking at our lives and hating our lives and hating ourselves. And again, I've kicked it with millionaires, and then I go behind the scene and they're like craving to have a real normal conversation, just like a normal, how are you doing? Like, I'm a real human and I don't care about your money conversation. There are things that go beyond class and race and sex that connect all of us. And we've been taught not to talk about these things. That's why there's more depression. That's why there's more people taking medication now, because we've literally been taught. What do you do when somebody's fighting? You pull out your phone. You don't break up the fight. You don't tell them to stop. You pull out your phone so you can get views. And that summarizes it. Yeah.
My niece, she is 13 and she got this bike and she was riding around. And do you want to know what happened? She fell and everyone laughed at her. Instead of going and helping her and picking her up, she has these scrapes on her knees. That very bad. Fell. Like, I don't know, like if she was dodging a car or what, going too fast, probably. She goes very fast on the roller skates. She's runner, very quick. And I had to tell her, I said, those people, and I felt so bad because I found out she laughed when she fell, and she, instead of crying, she laughed because she was embarrassed for falling and everyone was laughing at her. So she laughed. And I remember being that. Situation, and you put up the emotion, a shield, a false emotion instead of the real emotion, because you get embarrassed.
Right.
And you're doing that at 13, and we're taught that, and we do that. And then we do that as adults. So I told her, I said, those people laughing, I said, no one came over and helped you. I said, those people aren't your friends. They're insecure. And their parents didn't teach them. The parents didn't teach them. If you see someone fall, you go help them. So the people pulling out the phones and doing that, it's because the parents didn't teach them.
And this is my biggest frustration, is that older generations talk so much smack about younger generations. And I'm like, yo, take responsibility. You raised them. You were watching them. And this is the issue. If you talk with your grandparents, if you talk with people that are like 50, 60 years old, besides the fact that there was a lot of racism, things were overall on an overall level, things were worse as far as like human evolution, right? However, that on a American, just speaking like from like an American standpoint, that it was the norm when people were growing up that the neighborhood was more involved with you, that the neighborhood knew the other members of that neighborhood. And that if you would act up, if you would do something, that like that one neighbor would be like your aunt or your uncle or like a friend, it would say like, hey, don't do that. That's the whole, again, wherever background, whatever your race or ethnicity is, your ancestors used to do that same thing. It's the tribe, it's the collective, it's the community. That doesn't really exist anymore. And in other parts of the world, it does. And in other parts of the world where people have less money and less technology and less electronics than we do, they're way, way happier. It's this whole cycle of like, people literally just want to be in the spotlight now. Like people just want to be famous. They just want to be the next.
They want to be seen and they want to be heard in the spotlight.
That's for me why I've been talking more about how entertainment is and how every single entertainer is taking pills and is on drugs. And nobody sees anything wrong with that. They're like, look at Britney Spears. Like, look at what people are going through right now in entertainment. And it's a joke because people say, oh, poor Kanye West, he's got millions of dollars. This man is a human being, and we treat people like garbage, and then just wait on the next celebrity. And then when that person dies, then like we're worshiping them. Like it's the whole system from beginning to end is wild. And there are other cultures, there are places in other parts of the world where people have understandings where they all get along. It's possible for you to be Republican and for your other neighbor to be Democrat and for that other person to be whatever, and for all of you to be like, I don't believe in your beliefs. I don't believe in your God. I don't like the way that you dress. However, I respect that you're a human on a journey. You're doing the best you can. That's crazy that doesn't exist right now with all the stuff that's going on. Like we're clearly not angry enough. We're as a collective still. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
I was on the Instagram yesterday. Somehow I got onto Ariana Grande's page. I was just scrolling through to get my dose, to get caught up. I maybe see it once every 5 or 6 months or something.
Sure.
Or I don't know. It happens in brush strokes, but I was somehow led to her page through a friend's or someone's page. And I got to Mental Health Awareness Month in May. And I wanted to screenshot and send it to you, but we're here now, so I'll just tell you. But she said a post about Mental Health Awareness Month, and she posted amazing organizations around the world who are really into mental health and who are doing good work in the space. So I was thinking for you should go to that specific post from her mental health awareness. You have a cover letter and write to these organizations, because your message and your song and who you are and what you align to, they already have nonprofits and organizations and systems set up for someone like you who has this kind of message for your single, for Irregular. Trying to lift so many mountains by ourselves, we can do that. And I've done it, so I know how difficult it is. I can support you and help, make that happen, because I align to those organizations as well. So, maybe we can write them together separately. But I think, Eliza's on the team. She can do a cover letter and send it off, to these organizations with your message and your song, and connect with these people, organizations who want artists like you who have this message, because all these things need to be heard. And I'm so grateful, for the listener tuning in right now. We have over 4,000 subscribers per month now, and the show is growing massively. So I'm really, really excited, to add value for you and to inspire you. And I'm certainly inspired. And then I, text Nicky, hey, you want to do a podcast episode? And he's like, immediately, he's just like, yes. So here we are, 2 artists adding value for you listening. So thank you for being here and sharing with us. And then, to get it, to people, more people. It'd be awesome to share this episode with other people, other artists, and, celebrate and contact Nicky. Definitely follow him on all social medias, and it'll be in the show notes. But I think it'd be really cool to align with those, take action to align with those
Yeah.
organizations like we did with couples therapy by putting it, Film Freeway, and putting our improv series on Film Freeway, which then, now we're in competition, winning a bunch of awards and stuff. So we can, yay. Yeah. So just, that's
Yeah.
just like an idea that just came up. But I think, taking action on that would be really good. I feel.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm into that. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen, one of the things that I pointed out is that if you have conversations with people that are really heavy into politics, or people that troll, that if you actually have a conversation with them, and that's a cool thing. Like, I'm late to the party with TikTok, but I've been posting videos on TikTok and having conversations with people, and it's interesting when you talk with somebody who is super, super, let's say, like, for example, conservative, because I actually had a conversation with somebody who was really, really conservative. He was like a young dude, and was just being like super, like mocking of like the LGBTQ community and BLM. And I just was having a conversation with them. And he was just telling me how numb he was. It was like a 15-piece conversation, because he would respond, I would respond. And it came down to the fact that he was numb. And I'm like, man, like, I wish people understood how the people that right now, how numb people are. Like, I'm not going to have this conversation end until people really get it. Like, I don't care if it's difficult or if it's uncomfortable or if you roll your eyes, like, because the same person who's rolling their eyes is going to have a moment where they feel alone, where like they hit, like, people game the system and then karma knocks on their door and they're like, hey, remember all those crazy things you did to jump ahead? Well, you skipped the line, so now you're going to get penalized, right? Then they're like,
traumatized.
Help. Yeah, and they're like, help, I need help, I need help. And it's just like, nope, sorry, you didn't care about anybody else when you were climbing your way up to the top. Now you know how it feels. That life is a balancer in that sense, and it's, for me, again, when I talk with people, like you and I were talking about this earlier, like, it's mind-blowing to me how coaches, like on the internet, a lot of times, just, they're still selling courses and they're still doing stuff. And then, like, they're having conversations with me, or they're talking with me, and I'm like, yo, like, you're not happy. Like, you have no idea what you're doing. Like, you're just, you have like a script, you have like an app that, like, you copy and paste this thing, and it's cool. Like, I get that you're doing a job, like, and I get that we're all imperfect, but I'm saying you have problems that you can't solve, that are frustrating you right now. Why don't you talk about those? Like, why don't we have real conversations, real conversations, not like these like airy fairy, like we're all one, like we have to get along. I get that. I agree, we have to get along. However, people need to understand that the person that they're not getting along with is going through something, and we need to stop, in my opinion, that we need to be way more collective with our train of thought. And I feel like life is going to keep happening the way it is. I believe that's one of the reasons why this is happening, because now people are like, oh, we're actually all in this together. We're actually all confused right now. Nobody knows what's going on. Everybody's a conspiracy theorist. Everyone, every single person on planet Earth is like, I think I know what's going to happen, and nobody knows. So, like, until people get that collective conscious thing, we're going to continue to have these anxieties and these stressors. And it's like, yo, like, be happy and just feel good about who you are, and care about other people. Like it feels good to help other people out, So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Love all that. Love all that. And, helping other people out and supporting you as an artist, which everyone should do. Support artists, support humans. You have merch, right? We'll put in the show notes. You really got that store up. Like, I was like, oh my God. And it's beautiful. Like I was looking at it the other day. I was showing, my niece again, because she's an artist, and I, wanted her to see like, hey, you can take your digital art and put it on everything. So I want the socks. So I'm going to get those socks. But yeah, summer's here. So you even have masks, which is really cool.
I do. Yeah. So I'm an artist. I'm a creative. I went to College of YouTube, and I've learned technology is our friend. And, everything I do is with the intention of somebody just looking at themselves and just being like, wow, cool, I'm original. How cool is it that I'm original? How cool is it that I'm one of one? Like how cool is it that I'm unique? And so, yeah, if you go to yonickeyscorpio.com, you can click on merch. That's there. I also have beats that I've tuned to different frequencies. This is a new form of meditation. This isn't sit down and close your eyes. This is actually keep your eyes open or closed, but turn up the volume loud and let it out and celebrate yourself. And I'm going to be working on some more things. I have a Patreon, and I'm doing something independently so that everybody wants love and everybody wants family, and that's what I'm about, and that's why I appreciate you and love you and what you stand for, because we're on the same page. That like I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you look like or what you believe in. Like, I want for you to feel love, and I want for you to feel like your family's good and that you have that. Like, it's literally what keeps people happy long term, So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for sharing and being so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I love you too. And I'm sure all of the listeners, they love you too.
Yeah, I definitely, I think that, it's important now to find that love. And, I know that there are people right now that are on the edge, or there are people that are going through difficult times. And it sounds cheesy sometimes, but you really are loved. That, if you and I met in person, especially if you're introvert, that if you're somebody who has a difficult time meeting people and making friends, it's probably because you're introverted. And if you don't know what introverted is, or you kind of know, there are books about the power of being an introvert. And one of the gifts that we have is when we meet people, we pick up their thoughts sometimes, if we're tuned in enough, if we really listen, and we pick up on their feelings. And it's why sometimes we feel anxiety, because we're feeling other people's stuff. If I met you in real life and I saw that you were being hard on yourself, or you were down, like I'm there. Like there's, like we're human. And I think it's important to find that. And if somebody's listening to this and going through a difficult time, everyone's confused. So and try your hardest to just be like, wow, I'm being so hard on myself, and everyone's feeling how I'm feeling. You're not alone with the way that you feel. If you feel like the system isn't working, you're not alone, and we're doing something about it. And this is actually a great time to be alive. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. We're all going to come out of this ahead. We're all going to come out victorious. However, we do that when we win together, when we're collective.
Yeah, there are, well said. There's a lot of different ages. There's definitely a lot of teens who write to me. This one boy, he's really deep in my heart. His dad passed, his mom's on medication, and it's really difficult. And he talked about taking his life and stuff. So, he'll only, I've even suggested other podcasts, like your podcast, the Scorpio Rising podcast. And he was like, no, I only want to listen to yours.
I can relate. Your voice is pretty great. Yeah, no, I mean, like real quick, those people are the ones that need the most love, because the thing is, those people that are depressed and those people that are suicidal and those people that feel anxiety, they know what it is to suffer, and that's the reason why they're a lot of times soft spoken, because they don't want to hurt other people, because they know what it is to hurt. And if we can give those people, right, like Billie Eilish has a team, and she got her success and now she's chilling. If everybody could have a community, if we could all do that for one another, then we can all be rock stars and we can all be in the spotlight in that sense, man. Like, we need to really, really just it's family, and family might not look like you. Family might be just people you meet in your day-to-day life, but find good people and stick with them, man, and celebrate yourself. Be weird, be different.
Be irregular.
Be irregular. Be irregular, man. I want to have the energy. I want to have the energy of the woman who doesn't fit in the image of what women's beauty is, and she's wearing clothes and she's dancing, and all of these skinny women that are insecure are judging her, and she's dancing and having a good time anyway. I want to have that kind of energy. Like, it's time for us to fiercely love ourselves. It is time for us to fiercely love ourselves, because when we give people just simple kindness, when we have that simple kindness of just like, hey, I see you, like, you're good enough, that, man, that sometimes like it changes lives, and sometimes it's a huge ripple effect.
I love the ripple effect. I've suffered for a long time, and I've silently suffered, and I've wanted to be this strong Greek warrior and this strong businesswoman and public persona and perfectionism and the imposter syndrome and like all of it. And just I've been through it, like all of it. And I'm grateful for my experiences. And I've been, for years building up courage and the voice of like how it's going to be said, or how does it come out, or how to relate the message, or how to connect, and just in my head ruminating so much, for it just to come out that it's just like, rah, you know what I mean? And it's like so difficult. And I've had impactful conversations with you, and I've share some things with you about that. It makes one sick to silently suffer and silently hide other people's stuff, and wanting to be, earlier I was saying, authentic, and just sharing that, being irregular, like, on many different levels. So is there anything you want to share that, you've silently suffered with?
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you're touching on, because some of us have people in our lives who have had or are having certain, like, either it's like a health issue, like it could be something with respiratory, it could be, anything really. However, if you go online, if you do research, or go to the library, read a book, I've heard that they're in style now. If you do your research on the metaphysical connection, there was always a spiritual connection. There was an emotional attachment that, for example, certain parts of the meaning behind the big C word is that it's from not feeling appreciated enough. So it's one thing to feel angry. It's another thing to internalize that it's okay to feel angry. However, if you hang on to that anger, if you hang on to that sadness, and you ball up that I feel alone and I feel unheard, and you keep that inside and you live with it every day, and it just grows and grows, and you're just okay, and you just sit there in the corner, you're only hurting yourself. And I know that it's easier said than done to just say, get up. However, after we hit the age of 18, we need to parent ourselves. We need to give ourselves that tough love and really look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, yo, like you were 5 years old and you were invincible. Like, you're infinite, you're free. Like, this doesn't have power over you, like, reclaim your power. And, for me, I've been, to answer your question, I've been more aware of, like I said earlier in the show, of depression, and it comes from ADHD. However, for me, it's more so of the thing that is tied to depression is your soul is crying out and saying like, you're bigger than this, you're better than this. And then you feel conflicted. And that's where depression comes from, is that we have a purpose in this world. We each have a unique purpose. And when we don't follow that purpose, when we don't align with that, when we focus so much and care so much about what other people think, we get depression because we're constantly saying like, that person looks happy and I want to feel happy and I don't feel happy. And so we do all these wacky things and take all these different wacky substances and hang out with all these wacky people who don't even really like us or have our best interests, just in the name of trying to feel better about who we are, you know? And so for me, instead of being angry about the fact that I'm not content with my life, I'm understanding from, you know, studying spirituality and from studying different religions and cultures that all of this is leading to something huge for me and great for me. And I feel all this excitement and all of these blessings that are happening. And I feel all of this magic that's happening while I'm having this difficulty. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, cool. So in my mind, because I choose to listen to that quiet little voice, that quiet voice is starting to get louder and being like, yo, your time is coming. Just stay consistent. Your time is coming, baby. Just a little bit longer. Just hang in there. I know you want it. I know you want it. While I'm building and while I'm learning my lessons and growing, I'm also, when I'm meeting people and when I'm connecting with people, I feel invincible and bulletproof because I'm like, I know that this person isn't 100% happy with their life too. So like, I'm not going to play small when I talk with this person. I'm not going to put on a show for this person. I'm going to put on a suit and tie because I want to, or I'm going to wear some jeans and a t-shirt because I want to. And I'm not going to let anybody else determine who I'm going to be or what happiness is for me. You know, that we need to really, that's what it's been for me, is just like finding my way, navigating my way of like, yo, I'm introverted, you know, and at the same time, I want to go outside. I want to be around people. I want to be communicating with people. And I have had to go far above and beyond to psych myself to go outside and to interact with people because I haven't wanted to be around people. You know, and I'm like, this isn't normal as a human being. Like, I should want to be around people. I shouldn't want to always be inside. And so I have had to pick myself up from the bootstraps and dust my, you know, whatever, my collar off and pick myself up and be like, yo, go out there. I know that it's weird. I know that it's difficult. Go get it. Go do it. I got, you know, and that's how I'm living. And that's how I choose to live, because it's exhausting feeling unheard and alone and afraid.
Oh, yeah. Then you're just in your mind. And once you get into the sun, once you go out, once you make the choice to go out, are you good? Like in the sun and out? Or when you're out, do you feel like, oh, I just want to go back home?
I feel it's funny because I feel like I'm in a movie and like, I feel like people are all watching each other, staring intensely. And I definitely feel that I used to be insecure about that. And then one day I was like, oh, actually people are staring because they're intrigued. That's a good thing. You know, I feel hopeful.
You are easy on the eyes. I'll tell you that. Anywhere I've been with you, every time I go somewhere with you, like you're a rock star and everyone's just like magnetized towards your glowing energy and your spirit and your being. It's like anytime I go anywhere, I'm just automatically cool because I'm with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you're too kind.
It's like you just wearing a t-shirt and jeans and you're just like, you just show up and it's like, that's the vibe.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you. So you too, obviously I fell out my seat when I met you. So, you know, I think now is a time for us to be like, yo, you can reinvent yourself right now. You can actually completely and totally reinvent yourself. I believe you can change your stars. I believe that you can, you know, recalibrate yourself, that you can get a college degree at 80 years old and you can feel something cool and joyous about that. There was actually a guy when I was taking my mom out to get groceries, there was a homeless guy and he was asking for money and I had a little change and I was talking with him and I had just found, I sent you an email for it. I forget off the top of my head, but you can get free education at an accredited school. And I was like, do you have internet? And he's like, no. And I was like, well, there's a library down the street, right? And I was like, yeah. I was like, well, cool. Like, what else are you going to do? Like, get money, be able to eat, but don't just hang out here all day. Like, go to the library if you can. And even if it's 15 minutes a day, like, go get an education, dude. Like, you can be 65 years old and you can have a college degree. Like, that's dope. You'll be a celebrity, you know, that I just want to say, like, there's hope. That's, if anything, that's the message that I just want to convey to people, that like, you're extraordinary. And if you're feeling depression, if you're feeling upset right now, if you're looking at how the world is and you're feeling like you like, what's the point? Because people are talking about this, like, find other people. You don't have to do something right now. It's okay to just rest and meditate. It is really, really cool to just chill out. If your bills are paid, if you're financially cool right now, if you can mentally and financially afford to chill out and do nothing, it is perfectly okay to. You do not need to meet anybody else's deadline if you don't feel like it, but find the balance. And if you're tired of feeling tired, nobody else, and this might be hard news to hear, but nobody else knows what you're going through, and nobody really cares. And that's not a sad thing. It's like, pick yourself up, tell yourself that you're loved, and stop caring about what people said to you 1 minute ago or 20 years ago or when you were a little child. Like, it's you and it's you and it's you. And that's, you're here in 2021 and 2022 and moving forward because you were designed to be in this life right now in all this chaos, because you're going to do something great. And I don't want to hear anything else.
Yeah, I had this visual artist, Gabriel Scholdiner, on the podcast this season, and he was telling me a script. Like, a script is a belief in our head, for the listener. He was telling me this script, and I was just like, who told you this? And he was like, this female art dealer who represented him 9 years ago. I'm like, that's a decade ago. I'm like,
right. He
hasn't associated with her in over 4 years. So many things have changed. And like, he had the stigma and the mindset of, if you're an artist, you can only like be in certain galleries. And I'm like, yeah, you need to have your digital merch going. Like, now he's an NFT artist. He did a limited edition. He ran some NFTs. And you're an NFT artist, so you're going to be releasing a series of NFTs coming up. So that's really exciting. People can see that on Nicky Scorpio and everywhere. But it was like, yeah, like, we need to like really check in with ourselves and our awarenesses of, okay, maybe this served me or didn't serve me 5 years ago or 5 days ago, and check in, like, is that thing that someone told me or that thing that I told myself, does that make me feel good right in this moment? That thing that keeps going in my head over and over again.
Yo, I correct people on a regular basis. If somebody brings some weird energy into my conversation, I immediately will correct that. I had that happen today where somebody's like, oh, you can't do this. You need a whole team. And I'm like, that's not my truth. That's not my truth. I was actually looking up right now. If you Google TikTok art, homeless, if you his name's Richard, he's an art dealer. He used to be big time, and then he became homeless and was asking for spare change. And I guess these guys on TikTok found him and like found his art and just loved his work. And so they actually created an online store, and they were sharing his stuff, and his pieces were selling for like 1,500, like 3,000, 4,000. He had a whole event, he had like a whole gallery. There was like a show for him, sold out, like killed it. And so, again, like right now, if there was something in your life, if it's love, if it's finance, if it's personal, if it's whatever that it is, and it's not going the way that you want to, don't look at today and this month and this year as the entire chapter or the entire book. It might just be one page, and it might be a very, very long page or a couple pages. However, the book will end with a happy ending, and that's important to remember right now, because again, we're living in a time where there's no explanation for it, that people are just trying to figure out like what in the world is going on. So instead of being afraid about that, instead of being scared about that, you can actually, like I've told you this, I've said this to you, that I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and I'm studying and I'm learning now because I know people are afraid right now. And if you can understand that, it's like being in a room where somebody just threw like a smoke bomb in there and everybody's like, oh my God, a smoke bomb. And you're the person who actually knew that somebody walked in and they were holding a smoke bomb. And you're like, oh, I better go to the side of the room so that I can get out of here clear and come out ahead. That like, you can come out of this ahead. You can come out of this collective randomness that's happening as like better than when you came into it, you know, like just recalibrate yourself and listen to amazing people like yourself and listen to this podcast and, you know, and hang out with people that are on that same wavelength.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What comes up for me is a short story of In Brushstrokes. I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment with the broomstick and do acting and comedy and drama. And I was, you know, in it and in it and in it. After, you know, being very successful internationally in TV and film, I just knew I was going to be taking a break from on screen. I've still been doing acting with voiceovers, but I knew I was going to be taking a break from on screen. I don't know, like it's like it's just a psychological like knowing, but I knew like I just needed to take a break and I would be back. And like you said, like a long page. It ended up being like, you know, X amount of years. And it's just like, whoa. And now it's like, whoa. And it's like, okay, like I see the journey and experience that I went on and it was a bit longer than I thought, but I knew I would circle back around. So now I'm, you know, focused on getting back on network TV and everything. But I have, like I said, been doing voiceovers this whole entire time. And I was creating my own web series through the union with you, producing short films through SAG as a director, as a producer. And so I was still entrepreneurial and I was still acting, but I wasn't like on screen, like auditioning in the system of the entertainment industry. But I was still like, I was taking the approach of like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and the film they did. And just hearing so many of the, you know, artists, actors at the SAG event saying, oh, you can just with the phone, just create your own content. So I was like taking the opportunity to create my own content, directing music videos, directing web series and short films and things like that. So I was still doing it, but I was doing a different lane of doing it. And I kind of just woke up and I'm just like, oh, okay. With the pandemic, really being able to like slow down and see all the things that I did get involved with. It's kind of like a knowing, right? And it's kind of listening to that voice you were mentioning. And not knowing, sometimes knowing how it's going to look, maybe sometimes not knowing how it's going to look, but quieting, getting still and quiet and trusting and having faith, like you were mentioning. So
it's the strongest. It is required to have the strongest belief. It's beyond like, this is the funny thing. And we talked about this in another episode, like manifesting and stuff, that there's all of these people that sell you these courses and sell you these books that talk about, you are abundance. You are so abundant. Look at you, you abundant human being. And then people are over here like, yeah, that's cool. But like, how do I get to the money? Like, and it's not, it's like, if you want love, you need to visualize yourself feeling so loved. And if you grew up in an environment where you weren't loved, right? Where your parents didn't give you the kind of love that you're looking for, it almost feels uncomfortable or like awkward to feel those feelings, or
but maybe
feel annoying, that it could trigger people to think of actually like the actual thing that they want. Like, we need to get to a place of beyond everything that I know, beyond everything that I was taught. And even if somebody looks at me and they laugh at me, like how people laughed at Lil Yachty, they laughed at him and he was like, no, my music is dope. I'm telling you, like, it's good. And he made it off of that belief. They're like, keep that energy of, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care that the world is on fire. I don't care that there's fireballs falling from the sky. I see myself in a beautiful island. I see myself in love. I see myself with the family, and I'm financially free. And I'm telling you right now, if you keep that same energy and you take action and take small steps or big steps to stay in alignment with that, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. If you understand that, you'll get it, and you'll get it like it's never been gotten before.
Some people aren't visual people. Some people have an irritation or get in their head. I know I'm a visionary and I am, creator. And I know with myself, when I've tried to envision like what you said, and for myself, I know I've had conflicting moments of actual visualizing it. I guess something I can offer would be to journal and to write it down. If you're not a visual person, maybe write it down. I want to be on this island, or I see myself in a beautiful home. Like maybe
Yeah.
write it down, because the hand is connected to the heart. Do you have suggestions and ideas if people aren't very visual of how they can manifest that into existence?
First of all, what I was going to say is the whole reason why I started focusing on this was actually partially like when you and I first started hanging out, when I went to Los Angeles, and I was, in a nice part of LA, and I was in an environment where I was like, I could see myself being around this kind of energy on a regular basis. This feels pretty good. And then at the same time, like there was all this insecurity and uncomfortable energy that came up, and I felt like people were judging me. And I was like, that's really weird. This is quite literally everything that I've ever talked about in my life. And now, here it is. And I feel so uncomfortable. And I was like, well, logically, if that's what I want, and logically, if I feel uncomfortable, I need to do something so that I can like walk my talk, and it led me on this journey of realizing how deep these limiting beliefs were. And so I would say the first part of it is when it comes to whatever it is that you want, right? And again, I want to take money out the equation because everybody wants money, but money isn't what's going to make us happy. It's love. Let's say, for example, let's say that you're single, right? And so you want to be in a relationship. Well, let's say that maybe the last relationship you were in, the person didn't treat you with respect. And you want to be with somebody who's going to treat you with respect, but maybe you've never been in that kind of relationship. Maybe you don't know anybody who's like that. And so if you're thinking about being in that relationship and then it feels unknown or uncomfortable, that's step one. That's the first step. You've already begun your journey, because now you're realizing, if you can slow down, you're like, wow, that's interesting. I want a healthy relationship. Like, do the same process that I did. Wow, that's interesting. I said that I wanted a healthy relationship. And now when I'm actually seeing the healthy relationship, this feels uncomfortable for me. Clearly, I need to do some work so that when I'm around this person who wants to give me love, I can actually receive it. Because it's one thing to say you want to be in love. And then when somebody's like, I love you, you're like, no, that's not my translation. My Google translator is not translating it that way. It translates into, I can't trust you. And so it gets difficult. So part of it is being aware while you're in this manifesting journey. Be aware of what your thoughts are when it comes to your happiness and to your joy. And on a regular basis, when you wake up, when you walk into the bathroom, when you're getting ready for your day, look at your mirror, look into your mirror, look into your eyes, into your soul, and look at yourself feeling in love and feeling the feeling that you want to feel, and then feel how good it feels. And do this 2 or 3 times a day, and keep doing that, and have conversations that stay in alignment with that. And don't nod your head if somebody tells you you're not going to find that love, or that you need to do something weird or different that you don't align with. Like, just visualize it and walk into it. And if you can't visualize it, just feel the feeling of what it would feel like. You don't have to see it, but can you actually physically be sitting on your bed or be driving in your car and just be like, wow, I'm going to my job and I'm in love. I cannot believe that I have a job and I'm getting paid, and I'm happy that I'm getting paid, and I'm in a romantic relationship. This is so amazing. I'm so grateful for that. That's part of it. And again, just with every ounce that you have, believe that it's already there. The last part of this is that even in the Bible, that it's been mistranslated. When you pray, you're supposed to pray like you already have it. But we've been taught that that's like greedy, or that you're supposed to be humble, that you're supposed to say, oh, dear God, I want a straw hut that is made out of 15 pieces of straw. That will be fine for me. Everybody else can have their mansions. I'm a humble servant, God. No, God made everything that exists and wants for you to experience it. That's why it was made. That's why it was created. So stay in that kind of place, and just be aware of your thoughts, just be aware. Give yourself a week to say, for the next week, I'm going to listen intensely to my inner voice, my inner dialogue, and I'm going to listen intensely to what the first thought is when what I want comes up, or I'm going to listen intensely to the people around me. If I'm talking about, I want more money and I want to get out of the situation I'm in, or I want to be more spiritual and I want to connect with, God more, or I want to go live in the woods. If people laugh at you, get a big pair of scissors and cut the cord, cut them out of your life. See you later.
Yeah.
It's energy. It's a vibration. And the more that you connect with that vibration, the more you connect with that energy, and you attune to that frequency, to that energy, the more that you put yourself at that energy, you will naturally attract other people. Like, oh, you want love? I got somebody. They're a CEO. They're good. They're perfect. And they respect you, and you can have it all. You're like, wow, cool, amazing. So that's part of it.
When you're down and depressed and shaking and in a vulnerable state, what is one or two things that you do to get your self back to a centered place? Or is there a video, a YouTube, or someone that you follow that you put on or tune into to, for practice along the way to help some maybe people who are feeling irregular and down and out maybe?
I would say one of the things that I've done, which I don't even know how I learned this. I think I just said it out loud one day and was like, oh, that makes sense. Cool. I was going through such a difficult time and nothing made sense. And I felt like I couldn't speak to anybody about what I was going through for many different reasons. And there was all this overwhelm. And I sat down and I said, well, I believe in reincarnation. I believe that I'm an infinite being. I believe this isn't going to be my last lifetime. Definitely wasn't my first. I've done this dance before, that I told myself, I said, it's just a life. You're going to have another one, and you're going to have a new set of rules and new beliefs and new people in your life. So don't make this experience be the be all and the end all of who you are. Your soul and your spirit are infinite. And in fact, again, at the beginning of our conversation, if you and I were simply taught how life really works, how our souls really work, why we feel the feelings that we feel, all these conversations wouldn't even exist. 90% of the podcasting gurus and YouTube channels wouldn't even exist, because there'd be no need to explain to people. It would be a commonality to know that you have karma from your last lifetime. I tell myself that. I'm like, I was not a saint in my last lifetime. In other lifetimes, I've been really good. And in other lifetimes, I've been really bad. I've been the jerk. And I think people need to understand that and look at that there's not just one reason why you're feeling. So, again, don't make what you're going through be the definition of what your life is. Because if you were 5 years old and you saw your mom or your dad going through it, you would just go straight to a place of joy and a place of peace. And that's the truth. That's God. That's the real. We're living in an illusion. It's a gift that we're depressed. It's a gift that we're angry. It's a gift that it hurts. Why? Because it doesn't feel like a gift. It's a gift because whatever we believe in or whatever we don't believe in is saying, I'm going to get you out of this place. And until you get out of this place, I'm going to make it uncomfortable for you until you actually make the leap and you take the chance. We've never accomplished anything from just simply saying, wow, today was a cool day. That we can accomplish amazing things when we feel really happy. We can manifest great things when we feel joy. However, when that irritability comes up, that's just saying like, you want to be better or you want to stay the same? You can reinvent yourself right now. You can feel better. You can look at this, that this person who loves you is making you want to punch them or drive off the road or like scream at the top of your lungs. You can take a look at that, or you can keep hating that person. You have a choice here, So that's what I would say. And also I would say, find your community, even if it's online. Like TikTok is a really cool place. Reddit is a very supportive community. There are places online. There are Facebook groups. There are groups. Specifically,
do you have anyone specific? For me, like I know, and I don't practice it, but I know Wim Hof breath on YouTube was, very good for me personally a couple times. I know you enjoyed it. Esther Hicks, yes. Abraham Hicks. She's a go-to person I'll pop on if I just need to get to a place to shift my focus.
Actually, I was late to the party with TikTok, but TikTok's algorithm is really cool that I've aligned my algorithm. Again, you can recalibrate your algorithm. You can type in certain hashtags and you can just start liking everything within that hashtag. And all of a sudden, because, TikTok, when you go through the Explorer, you go through the feed, you're getting a combination of videos and people going live. So like I don't even know what the guy's name is, but every time when I'm scrolling through the feed, he's going live and he's got his sound bowl. So I'm like, cool. I just stepped into a sound bowl healing, you know, like
Yeah.
and then like all the people that I'm following are showing conspiracies and ways to heal and cool tips and tricks for music. So everything that I'm getting is inspiring me in some way, shape, or form. It's somebody either saying like, hey, look, millions of years ago, all this stuff that you were never taught about existed. Hey, look at this guy who's standing next to a skull, and the skull is 3 times bigger than that man's entire body. Maybe there's more to the reason, maybe there's more to life than what you know what's going on. That gives me peace. I would say be a seeker, be a truth seeker, go down the rabbit hole, learn different religions, because the more you learn about different stuff that's not taught in conventional education, the more you're like, oh, nobody knows the meaning of life. Nobody knows why we're here. So I can create my own destiny. That doesn't have to be a scary.
Okay, Socrates.
I'm just saying.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm saying,
I
like,
mean, that's his definition of a philosopher, as a seeker, as a philosopher, lover of wisdom, a seeker. Socrates, I'm his younger sister. So,
wow,
yeah.
You must moisturize.
Yeah, me and Socrates are like connected. So it's probably some of those Greek vibes rubbing off on you.
Word. Yeah, just seek the knowledge and learn about your roots, and learn about, like, you know, subscribe to, what's that channel? Subscribe to Gaia. Look up the number 4, look up Forbidden Knowledge. Look at what he talks about. He says some of the coolest things. This man has dedicated his life to researching about how Earth works and about extraterrestrials. There's so much going on in this world where, for me, when I learned all of that, I was like, again, instead of being depressed about, oh my God, there's so much stuff, it's like, oh, we're way more powerful than we ever realize. We can call on angels. We can create miracles. We can ask for help, and help arrives. We can manifest relationships, and we can manifest opportunities with no prior knowledge, with no connections. We can achieve greatness. We can pray to a deity, to an entity that we have never seen. The closest thing I've ever seen to God was light, was pure light at the hardest time in my life. And I understood that that was God. That's the word that we gave to it, right? But seek knowledge and go down the rabbit hole, because when you start to do this, then you get a sense of peace of, oh, my ancestors used to talk about this, and they were just focused on elevation. And the thing that I'm really missing is a sense of who I am. There's a void when I don't like other people, when I lash out at other people, when I attack other people. It's because inside there's a void within me, and I need to connect with my culture, connect with my roots, and know who I am.
Your design.
And that is
your design.
And that, for me personally, that keeps me going. That gets me past the depression. That makes me have those days or weeks where I'm like, I'm doing absolutely nothing. I'm not going to call anybody. I'm not going to tell anybody all the seeds that I'm planting. And thank God for the internet and for outsourcing, so I can be depressed and I'm still getting followers and I'm still getting posts out when I'm having those rough days. But like, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to be completely comfortable in the fact that I'm not comfortable, and I'm going to be there, and I'm good with that. And if you're uncomfortable, then scroll away, have fun.
Stroll away. Yeah. You actually introduced me to Forbidden Knowledge, and I had him on the podcast season 2. So definitely check out Forbidden Knowledge. He's definitely really cool. That was an awesome chat we had. Very cool. Very cool. I appreciate you sharing everything, and keep rocking and rolling. And so, you're just going to be promoting Irregular. You're focused on the single, although you have a whole album to put out. And all of the songs are amazing and so good. So I nudge you to release more sooner than later.
I just released, I just launched my YouTube channel, The Nicky Scorpio Show. So if you go on YouTube and you type in The Nicky Scorpio Show, I have some unreleased exclusive bangers for the family. So definitely, and Irregular's up on there. It's on all streaming services, and there's going to be NFTs and all that greatness. And more music on the way. I'm creating my own little cartoon show. Just if you rock with the message, let's be family. Let's kick it. Let's build. Let's take like-minded energy and create greatness, man. Let's win together. I love that. I love when people win. I love hearing good news from people. I love seeing other people succeed. I'm not like those other people in your family or in your circle who laugh when you tell them your big dreams. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, yeah, love that. And then you have a really cool podcast called Scorpio Rising. So you're in season 2 right now, right?
Yes, I do have a really cool podcast called Scorpio Rising, and that's what it's all about. It's all about elevation. It's for those of us that look at how the world is and see that there's ways where it can be greater or that we're in a matrix. So if you're looking for somebody who's like-minded, and I definitely talk about my story. My story is pretty wild. If you listen to season 1, the first episode, and hear my story, you'll see why I have the perspective why I do, and why I'm into the we're all one thing, and why I also I'm standing up for people who tell everybody they're okay when they're not okay. So definitely that's on YoNickyScorpio.com. And this season is all about being different. Every single person on this earth feels like they don't belong, or feels like they're weird or they're different.
Well, speaking of what you just said, I would like to share, because I asked you a bit ago, like what's something you're going through, or a secret or something, and I'm hacking and holding myself accountable based on everything we've talked about, and how I'm feeling. I recently told someone, I've only told I think 2 people this ever, but I recently told someone, hey, this. And so I thought, this is what I'm going to share right now with you. I remember when I was, I think, around 8 years old, I think I was just sent to my room a lot, but I remember just it being nighttime, and I would literally put my face into the pillow multiple times, and I would be screaming and crying and hot and just crying and just having so much snot. But I try to suffocate myself so many times, and I try to kill myself with the pillow. I would just try to suffocate myself, and I would scream to God, and I would be so mad, and I was wanting God to take me back. And I was like, why am I here? Why is this happening? Why is this? Felt like such torture. And I didn't remember that for a long time until I just shared it just this past week. And I really was reflecting on that. And I was really feeling where I was, and how mad I was, and how frustrated and how angry I was. And I buried that down. I suffocated my face in the pillow, not just once, multiple times. My parents don't know that. And of course, people at school don't know this. And so I can't imagine how we feel certain things of such torture, and we bury it down. And then we continue to keep doing that and putting the layers on. And this causes the depression and the splits and all the other stuff that we take on. And I'm just really just unloading this armor and speaking up and speaking these things out. So I wanted to, share that kind of deep, dark secret. So it's just not so inside of me,
That's thank you for sharing. I can't imagine. However, I will share, since you shared with me, and I might have told you this before, but my mom will tell you that when I was younger, and my mom's very smart, very well spoken, very educated, not out there conspiracy theory staring at the moon wearing a tinfoil hat. Okay. This is a well-educated, successful woman that when I was younger, when I was about 2-3 years old, and I remember this, which is really wild. One of the things that I remember when I was younger, when I was about 2 or 3 years old, is that I did not want to be here. And I remember yelling that. I remember how much I hated it. That I would scream and scream and scream, and my mom would literally hold me with my legs pressed against my chest. We would be outside in our backyard, and we had a swing, a big swing. And she would just rock me, and she would sing to me, and I would scream, and eventually it would calm down. My mom would have dreams and would have visions saying, sing him back or you're going to lose him. And I remember when I was younger, I hated it. And then around 4 years old, it just completely, everything just clicked and I was fine. And my mom and other people in my life would go, I've been to people and they've told me this. I've had more than, I think 3, if not 4 different people tell me that in many other lifetimes, I've consistently been a king or a leader or a person in charge, that I've been like either the commander or like the second person in charge, or somebody from influence, somebody upper middle class or upper class connected with politicians and people of influence and power, et cetera, so on and so forth. You know, I came into this world. Again, this sounds wacky in a regular conversation from last year, but this is all reincarnation is a documented factual thing, that I came into this lifetime and was like, well, I was kind of a jerk to people before, and I need to clear that karma. And so, you know, put me in the hood, take me to the poverty. And
Robin
like,
Hood,
and
just different,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm chilling in whatever you believe in, heaven, paradise, or whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, God, I got you. Yeah, I need to work on some things. Cool. All right. Yeah. Okay. Got it. All right. That's doable. So I'm not going to have money. That's fine. I mean, yeah, sure. I guess how hard can it be? And this is the comic version that I tell people, where God's like, you know, you remember what it was like in the last lifetime. And you know you're not going to remember when you get down there, right? You know you're going to forget all this. That's the rule number one in the game, is that as soon as you get down there, you forget everything that you did. You're like, yeah, that's cool. And then you get down to earth, and you're just like, what is this? Like in my mind, I'm like, where's my butler? Where's my maid? This is disgusting. Like serve me. Like where's my breakfast? Like why isn't the house clean? Like who's going to take me to my private school? You know, like where's my money? That we forget about these things, and there's so many different connections to karma, even to pain. When people have physical pains in their body, that it's connected to past lifetime. When you see people who have things with their body where it looks not normal, it's connected. And when you understand that, instead of being depressed and being like, I hate this life, you can be like, well, I just don't feel comfortable in this life, but that's why I'm here. That I'm actually meant to learn something, and I'm meant to grow and evolve from it. But we weren't taught that. And when I started to really understand this, that I'm in this life because I need to right some wrongs that I did, then I'm like, oh, cool. So this is charity work. But like I'm doing good. I'm going to evolve. I'm not going to take advantage of people. And if you do take advantage of people, I'm telling you, you're gonna get it in the next lifetime. You can be like, well, I guess I shouldn't have taken people's hard-earned money and taken advantage of them. Silly me, you know? And just understanding that kind of concept, if you really get that, if you really study it and you learn it and you understand that conceptually, when you have those moments of depression or frustration, then you can be like, oh, at the base, at the root of everything, at least I know I'm fighting the good fight. I'm breaking generational trauma. I'm stepping into uncharted, unexplored lands, unexplored territory. I'm doing what hasn't been done before. That's dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It reminds me of the movie Soul.
Right. Exactly. Love that movie. And
yeah.
Ashley, that movie was such a success. Like in China, it did really, really phenomenally well. Yeah. Like people need to understand this concept, man. Like
need or get to. Shaman Harry Paul would say, we get to understand the concept.
I understand the importance of language. I think at this point, really though, I really think we need to. I think it's at a point where when you're looking and you're seeing at how there are people making money off of us being divided. And thankfully, like reporters are like, there was, I forget what their name was. This woman recently like exposed a big media outlet and left her job because they were hiding the truth. That like, again, you have to understand there are two wings on a bird. So if you're the left wing, if your right wing isn't flying high too, the bird doesn't fly. So if you understand that concept, and you want to fly, or you can just stay on the ground and be like, help, I need another wing. But I personally want to fly and I want to soar. So I understand that I need to get along with the person that I don't understand and I don't like in that moment. You know, like that's another thing that gives me peace. We need to understand this. That like, if you're somebody who knows every single thing that's going on MSNBC or CNN or Fox News, if you are up to speed, you need to take a break, because it doesn't matter which side you believe in. It doesn't matter which side you follow until all the sides are being acknowledged. until we can all respect that we are all made differently. We all have different beliefs, and we're all being played. So if we can come together, we can actually change that. Like, what's the place? Vision,
Mind Valley
talks about. No, the Estonia. Yeah. They did it in Estonia. There was corrupt politicians. Now all the politicians are 30, 40 years old, and they have Teslas for taxis, and it's a medieval cryptocurrency place because they were tired of old people completely unaware of what's going on, taking all their money. And so everybody came together. We can do the same thing. I'm not talking about a crazy riot. I'm talking about like, yeah, we can do this in a legal and peaceful and educated way.
Robots that deliver the mail,
exactly.
The Daily Mail.
So it's possible, it's again, it's just be weird, be different, be irregular. And if all of your family is like, oh, look at him over there, he's so different, he only eats plant-based, or he doesn't want to watch the news, or she wants to wear rainbow colored clothing and color her hair, or she wants to dress and be non-binary, like, you have family right here. You have family right here, and you can find your people, and you can find your community. And when you have enough like-minded people who are all different and who are all weird, make history, study the real history, because all the people that made history were all weird in comparison to how everybody else was. So be different.
Mm-hmm. Biggie Smalls, sky's the limit.
Exactly. And what's the other one they say, aim for the moon, and if you miss, you'll hit the stars. It's cheesy, but it's true, man. Like, just be weird, and just be confident in being weird. Like, practice that. Practice dressing uncomfortable. Like, the one thing that I love about COVID, that happened with COVID, is that I can now go outside and be like, I'm not attractively dressed. I did not put on my outfit thinking like, I want to look sharp and be on point today. I put on my outfit of like, I need to go outside, and I have errands that I have to do, that I have to get done, or I just want to eat food. I do not care how people see me, because this mask takes, I don't know if you relate, it takes away like 50% of the attractiveness. I'm like, there's a whole jawline, there's like a whole face going on. I'm a ninja to you right now. And again, you find the blessings and you count the blessings. I was like, cool. Now I really, truly don't care how people perceive me, So just be weird, man. Be different.
Be irregular. Just be in the moment. Irregular. So honing it in, wrapping it up here. Not lightning round, but some fun things. So who's your favorite musician, rapper, inspiration, and why?
Tupac proved that poetry is powerful, that poetry can start a revolution.
Which musician, rapper, artist do people say you look like?
I've gotten Eminem. I've gotten, I don't know, like people say more like energy, like Linkin Park. I don't know. I get different comparisons. Somebody told me that I looked like Billy Idol, who's like an 80s rocker. I've gotten Sting. I mean, I don't know. I'm a chameleon.
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly.
I actually, when I was in New York years ago, before you and I even met, that I had a hat on backwards, and this girl from London came up to me and was like, "Oh my God, Machine Gun Kelly," and I was like, "No, I'm Tommy Gun Charlie." And
That's funny. Yeah, but his hair is just like bleach blonde, I think. Yeah. Which musician, artist do people say you sound like your vocal quality, your tone, or like? Yeah.
Well, Irregular was actually my first time singing falsetto, and I've gotten the Bee Gees, which I'll definitely take. Again, it's interesting because I feel like vocally where I go to is more rock and roll. But when I'm producing and when I'm selecting beats, I love like 808s. I love trap. I love hip hop, in the same way like Amy Winehouse, not comparing myself. I'm just saying Amy Winehouse created kind of like break beats and kind of like a hip hop vibe meets, classic R&B and rock, and paved her own way. I've gotten a lot of different references in rock and roll.
U2, the Bono. I've heard people say that the U2, the Bono, Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, I think for me, like somebody who I admire really, and who I would love to be in the same realm in my own unique way, is Sting, because Sting is a very spiritual being. And also, like, you listen to, for example, a lot of people would know Desert Rose. That was one of his like more mainstream kind of songs. But like for me, it's more so about, I learned that I'm a storyteller. So everything that I'm doing is about telling the story. I like artists who can tell a story.
Well, I remember one time years ago when we were making an album together, this singing coach said that you write like Sting.
Oh, that's wild. I don't even remember that. But yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, he said you were a songwriter like Sting. And I remember one time we were with this guy who was from Michigan, and he worked at some label. He was a manager or something. And he listened to music we made together. And he said you sounded like Chris Martin.
So yeah, I mean, for me, singing has always been a thing that I've done. However, I started off rapping. My freestyle game is up there.
Oh, well, come on. I'm putting you on the spot. Like it's you know what hot. Got to get it going on. I'm doing silly things to kind of shift you in the mood, if you know what I'm saying. Just kidding.
Well, I'm not bragging, but I stay with the dragon. There's a dragon on the Zoom screen. You're not seeing how I'm making everything go 360 degrees, make eyes and hearts and soul go on freeze. Please take a deep breath, be at ease, because this whole life we're walking the line like trapeze. I'm trying to go overseas, learn Japanese, eat some sushi with people whose minds are free, spiritually rock with me off the top of the dome. Poetry, woe is me, oh is he, old school and new school, play the fool, used to do things as usual, but now I'm not typical, walking, talking biblical like a jewel, do what I do and leave you drooling in the pool, super ridicule, but now I'm on top, nonstop on the guap, cream of the crop. Something.
Thank you. Love that. And I make trap beats. I'm actually releasing some trap songs. And since you like the trap, I don't know, maybe you put some vocals to it or something. I don't know. I'll send you the beat and I'll see if you feel the heat. What?
So I've always loved music. I grew up in a very musical family. My grandparents, my grandfather was a reverend and my grandmother was a missionary, and they would always sing and had beautiful voices. And so like I got that passed down to me. My grandfather could sing higher and lower than I can. He had an amazing voice. My mom has an amazing voice. I grew up listening to really, really great music and eclectic music. And for me, again, it's music heals. Like there's times, everybody's had one of these moments where you're just going through something like real heavy, and all of a sudden just the right song comes on and it's like, that doesn't even matter anymore. And I feel like we can still access that, but I feel like in modern music and in modern art, that needs to make a comeback. I feel like we need to make art that gives people that excitement and gives people that sense of hope. And so I'm doing my part to inspire people to say, like, I know you're going through a difficult time. Here's something you can listen to and just turn it up the same way. Like I listen to, Eminem, I listen to Tupac, I listen to different music and when I was younger, and I could just listen to it and all of a sudden, things didn't matter.
Yeah. Speaking up, I feel like Ocean Eyes, Billie Eilish, she has an amazing song. And I feel like, that song and so many songs make me feel that way. And you have some ocean eyes over there. You have that vibe. You said you're with your grandpa and his lower timbre voice, and with your eyes, you have those bedroom eyes. Yeah, I was watching her. I'm like obsessed with her documentary, and her eyes and how she has those bedroom eyes like you do, those ocean eyes, your big, beautiful blue eyes. I wish you all the best in your life, health, success, career. Lastly, before we are over and out, because in your freestyle, you were mentioning sushi and traveling and being on She's All Over the Place. Where's one place or two in the world that you haven't been yet that you really want to go to, or that you look forward to going to?
Japan for sure, and Russia. actually. Like I have a really interesting connection with like the Russian culture. Like I rock with Russians, and when I'm in New York, people think that I'm Russian. It's pretty wild. It's dope though. I love their energy. In Japan, like I remember when I was living in New York at the beginning of it, there was like what was that tsunami that happened, and people were just so positive. I'm like, yo, like you're like, when you go back home, it's gonna be like, you know, it was decimated to a certain degree. I love their culture and excitement, and you know, the healthiest people. Japan, they say, is like the healthiest culture in the world. You know,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I love culture. I love seeing how different people operate, and you know, again, as a seeker, you take bits and pieces. You're like, oh, that's cool. There's more balance in Japan. Like they don't just work and work and work. Like you can take breaks in Germany and in Spain. Like you can take a siesta and you can relax, you know? So that
Mm-hmm.
those are definitely two different places. Plus like Russia, like they Russia loves the music. So
I mean, I know I said lastly, but you do voiceovers. So if an ad
I do.
agency or a client or someone hears this, they can definitely book Nicky Scorpio. You're with one of the top 5 voiceover agencies in the world. You're with Vox, same voiceover agency as
Yes.
with me. And you can do a little bit of a Russian accent, right? You want to give us some of your Russian?
Well, when people they come up to me, it's not that I can speak the language, but it's more. I think it's like the haircut, the vibe that I give off, because I look very European. So when they come up to me, they say "Привет." I say, "No, I'm not Russian, but I'm from West Coast, like Tupac." And then I have a conversation and tell them that it is not practical joke, so it is something like that.
Wonderful. Da. Wonderful.
You know, and I mean that in respect. Now I love the, and you know what's wild is I did my DNA test, and I'm 1% Russian, and I want to know what the story was. I want to know, like, what was the day of the week, like what was the mood, was there wine involved, like was it just like, hey, like strangers in the night, like Frank Sinatra? I mean, I'm 1% Russian. Like how does that, like what? I want to know the backstory.
1%.
But
1%.
we made it though. I'm like, that's, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's the connection. That's why I have so many different friends that are Russian, because they feel the vibes. We take that 1%, we turn it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Speaking of turning it up, is it cool if we play Irregular?
Yes, please. Yeah, definitely. Turn it up for sure. I produced this, wrote this, and I hope you enjoy it. For all of us who feel different and feel irregular and are tired of feeling bad about it, this one is for us.
Yeah, with that being said, we're going to turn it up with the regular. And we just tuned in with Nicky Scorpio. And yeah, check out the show notes, follow his journey, be a part of his journey. And yeah, I hope you are inspired and uplifted. And yeah, tune into the Sophisticated Psychos YouTube channel and Yo Nicky Scorpio music YouTube channel, SoundCloud. Get the music, download it for free. If any DJs are hearing the music, there's the acapella on SoundCloud. You can download it and do a remix, and that is welcomed.
Yes, please.
And yeah, cool. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Over and out.
All right. Be kind to yourself. Peace.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Kitty over and out.